All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Season 7 finale here of the Area 51 Racing League Cup Series. Tonight we've got 100 laps to determine our Season 7 champion. So you see the drivers in the top on the picture above. You see Chad Wilkes. I say all these drivers have had wins this season. Chad Wilkes obviously having the one at Sonoma. He's had others throughout the season. Kevin Brown having a win at Texas. Ryan Kelly at Atlanta. Larry Yingling at Kansas. So these drivers, I think at this point, and actually a big thing that's changing here as well. We've got some different drivers in the booth and in the car here this evening. So we've got Dale Knott in the 94 car tonight. Maxwell Caldwell, he's going to join me in the booth this evening. So giving Dale a little bit of extra seat time to get prepped for season number 8. Maxwell, always a pleasure to have you with me. Looking forward to next season for sure. And so you've had the pleasure of racing with these 4 drivers, so you might have a little bit of extra insight to what we want to look out for this evening.
Absolutely. First off, thank you for having me in the booth tonight. Would love to be out here with these guys, but I'm trying to let Dale kind of get his feet wet with these boys and see how he wants to run this league next season as the admin. So as we're here tonight, these 4 guys, I thought I had a favorite pick coming into this, but I have no idea who's going to get it now. All 4 drivers are super strong all season long. They've all been battling for the majority of the wins. And, I mean, how can you pick between Larry Yingling, past champion, Ryan Kelly, Kevin Brown, and Chad Wilkes? I mean, all champions in Area 51 somewhere. So, I mean, these guys are just top of the top, best of the best, and I wouldn't rule any of them out. But tonight, think about something. No bonus points, no nothing. It all comes down to where do you finish. And in my personal opinion, with the drivers we got, it's going to take a win to get this championship.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think it's going to definitely come to that approach. I mean, it's actually what happened as well on Tuesday for the Indy Series. To say driver had to win the race to be able to win that championship over there on Tuesday. So I definitely want to congratulate our winner there. Was the 007 of Henry Bennett winning the Indy Series championship. So I say tonight, obviously, as you see the 4 drivers there. And I say, so right now, job number 1 for these guys is going to be qualifying. We talked about that a little bit earlier as well during practice. These guys are mentioning it's a tough setup here. It's going to be really tough to pass. So I think, like you and I had talked about a little bit, qualifying position is going to be crucial for these guys to have a good chance at this one tonight.
Absolutely. I kind of ran some laps last night and tonight with some of the guys, practicing with them just so I'd have an idea of what's going on here. And this setup is quite different than anything I remember at Phoenix. And I think I've won the last 2 Cup races. I'm not tooting my own horn or nothing. Just to give perspective though, the way the car handled in those 2 races versus this one, drastically different. And we're also running at night, so speeds are going to be up. The front end really doesn't have a whole lot of grip tonight, and the back end really wants to step out on you if you push too hard. So watch for tire lockup going into 1 and 3. Watch for cars really drifting up the hill. This is a very tight setup. I'm not going to lie. This is going to be a lot of finessing to get around here. And the big thing I question is tire saving going to be worth it, or is track position going to be king tonight? We're going to have to keep watching tonight to find out which one's going to prevail.
Yeah, exactly right. It's gonna be very, very intriguing to see kind of what strategy plays out. It sounds like the fuel window, should we go green, it'd be right on the 1-stop margin. I say right around 50 laps of the 100-lap race. I'll say obviously no guarantees of that. Like I said, very challenging track this evening. However, before we get to all that, I believe qualifying just has completed, so we're going to show our starting grid for tonight's event. All right, so we talked about our playoff drivers here and Maxwell, and no real surprise here. Top 4 positions all are those playoff drivers. So Chad Wilkes, he's able to just hold on to that top spot by just over 200ths of a second over Larry Yingling. Then you got Ryan Kelly 3rd, Kevin Brown 4th. So right now you got those 4 playoff drivers in those top 4 spots. Kevin Freeze in 5th, Robbie Richards 6th, and I'm saying not too bad for a qualifying spot there for Dale. I know Dale was kind of debating whether or not he wanted to put down a qualifying lap or maybe just start towards the back. In 7th position, then you got Andrew Plushy in the 8th spot. And then 9th through 15th here, you've got Lewis Woodall, Todd Merkel, Gabe Butler, James Ledford, Eric Laurie, Michael Spell, and Bud Steele will be the 15 drivers taking part in tonight's race. Yeah, so you're I was saying you made a couple good points there as well from the earlier mentions that you were talking about, Maxwell. for kind of what the strategy call is going to be. I think there is going to be some pretty early aggression for some of these guys to try to get that track position right off the bat to try to hold people behind, and like I said, use that clean air to kind of to your advantage. So it's gonna be really intriguing to see. I'll say, and I do really want to really appreciate you guys joining us on YouTube. As they've been a lot of chats on here. So I know Kevin Hash, sponsor of that number 67, Larry Yingling, is watching tonight. So I hope you enjoy the show. Again, really appreciate you guys chiming in here. So we definitely do have a good number of Larry Yingling fans this evening. So say that 67 is going to have a little bit extra pressure here tonight.
Absolutely, and I tell you what, I think he does have a lot of pressure because look, he's sitting on pole right here. Honestly, I didn't want to say it earlier because everybody was so tight on times, but after practicing this week, I just have a good feeling about Chad Wilkes here in that 17. He's been real smooth, real consistent, and he's got very early run speed, so look for him to take off early in this one. But 67, he's got good long run speed. We know how Ryan Kelly is with long runs, and that 93 always super quick. Hard to pick who's going to win this one tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see as the pace car heads in. So once that green flag flies, we will be underway. Again, 100 laps is the distance this evening as we are down and away. And you see Larry Yingling really trying to get a good momentum here through 1 and 2. See if he can maybe sneak around that 17 of Chad Wilkes here on that initial start.
Okay, I'm not for sure. I think your mic might have muted, my friend.
Oh, apologies for that. Hopefully everything's back again. But as I said, right now, Chad and Larry having a really good fight here for that spot. Chad's just going to hang off of turn number 4 there, get the first lap led.
Absolutely. Looking them here side by side, it looks like the 17 finally going to clear coming out of turn 2. Look for these top 4 to just get in a rhythm here to start running single file very early on. But note that the guys in traffic are going to be fighting an extreme push in these corners. These cars are not going to want to turn well for them. Start watching for guys to push up the hill as that 17 starts to take off.
Yeah, you can see, that's something we talked about. We expected to see the 17 have some short run speed. We expect the same from the 93. And you can see right off the bat, Kevin was able to clear the 13 of Ryan Kelly. Now he's starting to try to put some pressure on Larry. And so you see the open dog leg. It's one of the biggest changes with Phoenix now. So these drivers are going to more often than not probably try to abuse that a little bit and kind of shorten that track a little bit there and help that lap time.
Absolutely. There is speed down in that dog leg. I personally am not a fan of the open dog leg. I liked the old layout of Phoenix better. But that open dog leg does have about a tenth or two down there. But setting yourself up for turn 3 is so crucial. Don't look for guys to do it too often because it's really going to upset the car as tight as it is going into turn 3.
Yeah, so they were watching the 93 there. I think he may have just had a little bit of contact with his right rear there with the outside wall of turn 2. Yeah, you can see that right rear quarter panel maybe just bent in just a little bit for that 93. Again, I feel like a track like this, he's probably going to be able to get away with it, but it's going to be something that he's going to, for being lap number 4 there when he made that contact, that's pretty early to have that kind of a push off of 2.
Absolutely, and I'm telling you, these cars, I can't emphasize this enough, Gael. This has got to be probably one of the tighter setups we've had on a short track this season. I'm not going to say it's been the tightest all season, but as far as the short tracks go, this thing's really not rotating with this high horsepower, low downforce package, and that's really making it tough. But one thing I noticed in practice, these right side tires are actually holding up really well. So you do have the ability to try to abuse it a little bit on that right front. You really lean on it. But man, as you see the 17 there, just can't get to that yellow line. It is extremely difficult. And even getting off turn 4, it's just if you do not arc turn 4 right, you are going to either hit the wall or actually spin it out with a snap loose coming off the corner.
Yeah, I think that's really the biggest part that you just brought up there, Maxwell, is the fact that with this high horsepower, low downforce package, you kind of expect it to be a looser setup and just the feel for the car. But the way whatever it is with the setup just is definitely on the tight side. So it really almost makes it harder for these drivers because you're going to have that really bad issue of kind of that pushing loose. You got so much wheel into it, and then you're trying to put down that 700 plus horsepower with that high horsepower package back on these things. Then that car is going to really want to step out. So it's going to be a really tough balance for these drivers to manage them both.
Absolutely, and speaking of balance, it looks like either the 17 may be taking it a little easy or the 67 and 93 are just conserving tires that much better, but they're all under a blanket right now here for the lead as Ryan Kelly sits back and forth just patiently waiting for these guys to make some sort of mistake. Look at these guys all nose to tail.
Yeah, say they have not been able to separate from one another. Say the one that I'm going to watch though with this, like I said, these top three I think are kind of going for everything they can right now to try to keep that track position. But Ryan Kelly, I don't think he's showing his full hand. We always joke about him kind of being Mr. Long Run, but there's a reason we do that. He's whatever it is, he'll say, especially actually on these setups where it is a little bit on that snug side. He's able to kind of keep that right front in a good position, and then once those other drivers start to burn their stuff up, that's when he really is able to pounce. So maybe once we get about I'd say 25 or so laps into this run, I think that's when we might be able to see Ryan Kelly make some moves happen as well.
Absolutely, and one thing I'm really going to be looking for, I remember when I was practicing with these guys, I'm trying to use that as just as much example as I can. In the long runs we did in practice, I was able to run guys down from a second back, 2 seconds back, and get to them. But passing them was a whole different story, especially after you get about 15, 20 laps on the tires. So even though we see that 67 and 93 right there on the 17, I think passing could be a completely different story. If I'm that 13 of Ryan Kelly, I'm just making sure I save everything I can and even possibly try to go for a fuel strategy to maybe even have one less stop than some of these other areas.
Yeah, so actually the fuel strategy is a really good point because like we mentioned, say we were right on the edge of it being a one-stop race. So say if they're a little too aggressive early on, they might fall a little short of that fuel number. So you have to be a little bit careful about on their fuel usage as well. But like you mentioned though, Larry Yingling is just keeping that pressure on that 17 of Chad Wilkes here for that lead. I say right now, like I said, just these drivers are going to have to kind of be picture perfect really to make sure they can keep this track position. As I say, Larry is definitely putting as much pressure as he can on that 17 car, but right now Chad just is keeping his cool right here.
Absolutely, and just like you said, Chad's doing everything he needs to do. He's not freaking out. He's not stressing out too much. It's early in this race. He's just trying to hug that yellow line as much as he can. Now, one thing I am shocked that I'm not seeing more of, at least people trying, is trying to use that apron down in 3 and 4. Some cars, I know the 13 in practice, he actually experimented with that a little bit. Whether he had success or not was a different story, but when it comes down later in this race, are people going to try to maybe play with that apron to try to get this car to rotate a little better? I'm telling you, the steering in this car is really, really snug. The front end doesn't want to grip. It just wants to slide. So if you're going to slide anyway, you might as well take that shorter distance around and see if you can get a good run out of 4.
Yeah, I was saying we were watching and say they just barely put their lefts just below that yellow line there to 3 and 4. And saying if there's a turn to do it, it's going to be 3 and 4. The banking difference of 1 and 2 is just way too great. It's going to just pretty much snap that car around, make you try to spin out there. So you're right, though. They're cheating it a little bit, but nowhere near as aggressive as we thought we might see. I said we see in the Cup side of things, some of these drivers are over like half their cars within there, or even the full car as well. So maybe the cars are feeling okay enough for now where they're not worrying about it as much yet. But yeah, I'll be curious to see. So I do want to jump around a little bit. So say obviously been pretty much focusing on our front 4 right now, but right behind them, 5th and 6th, you've got Kevin Freese, Andrew Plushy. I'll say these two have definitely had really good seasons for the both of them. Andrew making into the playoffs, just not having the season, getting those couple races into that final 4 that he was looking for. But I would not be surprised to see him be in that same position next year to get into that spot to get that final 4 next season. If that's the playoff decision we choose. So that could change as well. We never know.
Absolutely. And, the 82, he's a good friend of mine, known him for well over 11 years now in sim racing. And me and him, I always consider us rivals, right? We always are teammates, but we always want to one-up each other. So we normally ran together in most of these races this season. And I tell you what, the 25 started running with us as well. So I know if I was in the field tonight, I'd probably be plopped right there in between the 25 and the 82, just kind of running in that group. And I know how these guys are. They race with each other week in and week out. So they are not too far off that lead pack, though. They are right there in striking distance. We got Kevin Freese, about 2.5 back. Andrew around 2.5 back, kind of rough guesstimates here. So they're doing pretty well right now. Could be just saving their stuff. If I know Andrew well, he normally likes a tighter setup than I do and Larry does. So in just our team communications, he does better with some of these tighter setups. Now, I don't know if this is going to be too tight for him if he runs the right front off, but look for him to maybe start making a move or two as we get later into this run.
Yeah, it's going to be very intriguing to see kind of how the short run versus long run on some of these guys. And right now, the lead pack here, pretty much the top 7 cars are all within about 1/10 of each other in the 27.7s to 27.8 range for pretty much the top 6. Actually dropping back, top 7 actually, because Dale he's in that same group as well here. Like I said, Dale kind of putting up the headset on the broadcasting side of things, getting his feet wet for next season. In that number 94 car, started in the 7th position, still currently in that 7th position. I mean, he's still keeping in pretty good touch with these guys. And I said we talked plenty, but he said he has not really touched the steering wheel in iRacing for a couple of months now. So he's doing a pretty good job shaking off that early rust here.
Absolutely, and just watching his line, man, he's just hitting his marks, being patient. Probably something I wasn't very good at in that 94 was being patient, but he's definitely just running the preferred line, taking it easy. He's not even cutting that apron right now. He's just trying to make laps, get his feet wet, which is exactly what he needs to do. But he's really not losing that much touch with the guys he's around. I mean, he could easily get up here probably later on and start battling with that 82 and 25 for sure. Wouldn't shock me a bit to see that 94 get another top 5 out of tonight. And little bias here, I'd love to see that 94 get a top 5 tonight. That'd be awesome to see with someone else behind the wheel.
Yeah, so I say there's never getting around bias from either side of us, but say his brothers in our YouTube chat as well say he's going to start speculating some rumors though that 94 might be running on a PlayStation 2 controller. So we'll have to definitely do some investigative reporting here and find out if that's the case or not. But if that's the case, probably even almost a little bit more of an impressive run so far from that 94 car.
Absolutely, and again, I'm just impressed with this long time as it's been since he's really been in an actual race. I know he's practiced with us some, but actually being in a race setting, he's doing exactly what he needs to do. If he nails his pit stops right, and it looks like we could run up to green flag pit stops the way this race is going, it'd be interesting to see how he manages that, not pitting in a while, and if he could actually gain some time on some of these guys. I think he's got the car underneath him. It's just a matter of putting everything together and putting a full race together. And I'm just glad he qualified, Gael, because he kind of scared me in that practice earlier, not wanting to qualify. It just shows that he's right where he needs to be and that he can compete with some of these top guys, including some of these playoff drivers tonight.
Yeah, so and that's kind of what we when we had talked to him a little bit before the race, there was kind of that discussion of like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to qualify. I don't want to play an outcome of the race. And but the thing is, I mean, you want to try to qualify as well as you can because you want to see kind of where you stack up with some of the guys here. So and saying right now, I mean, I think he's doing that. I mean, he's running with all the playoff contenders all in front of him, and he's right in that mix. I mean, that's a great job for him to start off in that first kickoff for him. So we'll jump a little further back. You got Robbie Richards in the number 12 car. He is in the 8th position right now. Say just a little bit off, about a second and a half or so it looks like off of Dale. And we got a good little battle behind them though with the 48 of James Ledford, the 81 of Todd Merkel. I say right now Todd running the top side, James on the inside, and I say these two have been running side by side here for a couple of laps though. But while they're doing that, you can see in the picture here comes a few drivers kind of going to join the party there. You got Lewis Woodall in the 00, the 1 of Gabe Butler, the 6 of Bud Steele. I say they're all right there. You're going to try to take advantage of the side by side racing.
Absolutely, and I'm not going to lie, whenever we were talking about Dale there, I couldn't help but just watch this battle between the 81 and the 48. It's been side by side for the last 5 to 6 laps now. Todd Merkel working that outside, which has some grip if you run it right, because you can keep the car below you pinned down. And you'll see that 48 kind of get tight on corner entry. But if you can get the exit off the bottom, he's got that whole dog leg he can use, and that's what's keeping that 48 ahead right now. But now we see the 00 kind of working his way into the picture. This is turning into a 3-car fight and possibly even a 4-car fight. This is where we need to be watching right now. This is the action part of the track at this moment.
Yeah, it's saying it's not a big gap up front. Say with Larry and Chad Wilkes, it's about 0.4 of a second. However, though, we talked about Mr. Long Run of Ryan Kelly. He is closed right back to the rear bumper of that 93 of Kevin Brown. So, say right now, Ryan doing what he needs to do here to try to see if he can find a way to get around that 93 car. Say that's where things get a little difficult. He said you can get there, but now he's got to find a way to get that little bit extra speed out of that 13 car to get that run off the exit.
Looks reminiscent to what I saw in practice this week of just running with Ryan and some other guys. I was actually able in a practice room to run Ryan Kelly down from about that big a gap that he had. So I know what he's doing, and he probably learned a little bit from our session last night. But it looks to me like that 93 is really just pushing right now. That car is not wanting to enter the corner well. Notice he cannot get to that yellow line until late apex, where the 13 can just roll around, and he brings it all the way up to the wall to keep that momentum going, to keep that car wound up. even though we've got the higher horsepower package, we still got to remember these cars are very well momentum cars. You've got to get these big runs on the straightaway to be able to make any moves. So Ryan's there, but now he's fighting a big aero type being behind that 93.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's what's crazy to think about. It's like this is a 1 mile track here, but you do have to worry about the aero just the way these cars are built. So it makes it that much more difficult. And I was going to mention, you noticed that Ryan had really not been cutting the dog leg on the backstretch there, but now he actually did that last time by. As you see one car running low there, it's the 6 of Bud Steele. I wonder if Bud may have run into some issues here. The car looks to be in okay shape. Don't see any, actually maybe a little bit of right front damage to that 6 car. So I'm not sure if he may have made some contact earlier while because he was in that big group that was starting to battle a little bit. So we'll have to kind of see. Maybe I'll try to maybe go back and take a quick look here in a moment, but I do want to keep an eye on this battle though for third.
Lap 30, they come out of turn 2 and the 00 and the 6 made some contact. I knew I heard the 00 on the driver chat saying something, and that's what it was. I think he didn't appreciate the hit he got there. Just 2 drivers that ran out of room, but on lap 30, running out of turn 2, if you show that at any point today, that's where that contact was at, and it kind of almost made it very perilous. That could have been our first caution, very easy, but both drivers kept it straight, but it was very touch-and-go moment there.
Yeah, so they pull it up here on that replay, and yeah, you're right. Kind of an odd situation there for the 00. It was way off the racing, not off the racing surface, but kind of way off the wall for being on the top groove. And yeah, it was actually really close for Bud to bring out a yellow there. Had to try to gather the car back up. So we'll jump back live. He's back out on track, was able to get back going. I most likely used the faster pair. So he's back out there. However, while we were looking at that, we do have a change for third position here. That 13, Ryan Kelly, was able to find his way around the 93 of Kevin Brown. So now Ryan up to that third spot. So once he kind of gets settled in here, Maxwell, I'm going to be really wanting to watch these lap times between himself and Chad and Larry to see if he's able to get that long run pace that we kind of hype up on him.
Is a very interesting thing because I firmly believed that we were going to have a tough time seeing guys up front make passes for the lead. And we've got
cautions out, and I think it's the 6 of Bud Steele. We just talked about them. He has with the fresh tires possibly, so it's going to bring our first yellow out of the evening here. Let's go back and see what happened to bring out the caution. So you're watching him through 3 and 4 here. He's all by himself, so I think maybe just a little bit, I'd say probably one of those situations, I know we've both been in Maxwell, drive a little bit too angry. May have just kind of got a little bit too aggressive on the loud pedal there and just unfortunately set that thing around off of turn number 4. Into the inside wall. I believe just the solo incident here, you see Robbie Richards able to sneak away from it. So that's going to be our first yellow. And unfortunately, though, for Bud, he's already used the one faster pair. So that's going to be, unfortunately, he's going to have to do some manual repairs here. However, it's going to be pit stop time for these guys. And I don't think we're going to see any strategy calls.
This is going to be a huge pit stop because we cannot make it to the end on a green flag run. They almost had the chance at a one-stopper under green, but now we see pit games here as guys speeding up and slowing down on pit road, trying to get to that pit road speed. Just keep an eye on these top 4. That's really the main race we're watching here, the race within the race for the championship. The 17's been known to slide through his stall a little bit. I don't want to jinx him, but he's been known to do that. 67's been solid on pit road, and the 93's been solid on pit road. Look for them 2 guys to gain a few spots as they get ready to come into their boxes.
Yeah, it looks like Chad was ready this time. He definitely got in there nice and clean. It looks like so far everybody having pretty solid stops here. So now it's all about the pit crews. If you can hit your box just that little bit better, you might be able to gain a couple of tenths. But you can see all 3 of them literally just drop and go at the same time. Ryan Kelly, though, with an aggressive pit exit. I'm curious to see if he was maybe able to jump that 67 Larry Yingling. We'll see once they cycle back up all the way to speed here. But Ryan Kelly may have won that fight off of pit road to grab that second spot around the 67.
I absolutely believe he got it. He just got the traction out of his pit stall and was able to take off, knowing where the timing lines were, knowing how aggressive he could be, and the 67 just kind of getting a little bit of tire spin coming out made all the difference. Now we've got a guy that we know is good on long run, and instead of having to start 3rd, 4th, or 5th, wherever he started tonight, now we see that he gets to start. He started 3rd, so now he gets to restart 2nd. If he can keep that 2nd position on this restart, then he's only got 1 car to pass on that long run. And we've already seen the 13 has been the only driver to make a pass up front on a long run. So now, if I'm Chad Wilkes, I'm watching how he made that pass on the 93, and I'm probably a little nervous. But we still see the top 4 guys in the top 4 positions. But don't forget that 25 and that 82, they kept with them for a while there. Let's see if they learned something that first run and can do something different on this restart.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, Maxwell. I'll say for Ryan Kelly, like you said, he dropped back to 4th on the initial kick. The one big advantage that Chad Wilkes is going to have here, though, is he now has control of this restart, so he doesn't have to wait for that green flag to fly to go. So he doesn't have to worry about maybe Larry being right on the ball with him in that restart. If he can get that little bit of a jump possibly over Ryan, that could be just enough for him to be able to kind of give himself that little bit of breathing room that's always extremely crucial.
Absolutely, and that's really going to play into Ryan Kelly's hands too, because these restarts on the outside here at Phoenix are really difficult. And if you're side by side going in the corner, not only could you lose the lead, but you could also lose to the second car in the bottom lane. But if he can time it out with the 17 where he takes off kind of with him, he can blend in front of Larry and be able to have that bottom line going into turn 1 and just sacrifice going for the lead, but be able to run it coming out of turn 2 with the bottom lane and be in second position there to just ride and save tire. But let's have a notable here. Let's look at Dale Knott. Didn't want to qualify, but he's still running up here, man. He's still in 7th spot, right where he qualified, doing exactly what he needs to do. Let's see if he's learned anything on this restart to try to crack into that top 5. And remember, fresh tires. These things are going to be loose. We saw it with Bud Steele when he got his tires. Kind of a little slippery. Let's see how these guys anticipate this restart.
Yeah, you see that time Chad Wilkes definitely went a lot earlier, immediately able to get to the outside. They're going to try to get that nice arc into 1. So now Ryan Kelly's got to try to hold off that 67 of Larry Yingling on the inside here. And I was saying that was kind of what we suspected. Now we have to watch the 93 of Kevin Brown. So he's going to try to see if he can get a 2 for 1 here as well. But right now it's 67-13 though. They're going to run side by side here through 3 and 4.
And I think that's a mistake on the 13's part. He had it clear. He had the restart he needed. He should have sacrificed his line and moved down in front of the 67 to play defense. But he gave the benefit of the doubt, and he could have literally just threw this championship away the way this race has been going so far. He's going to have to hope 93 don't get around him, and he loses all those positions he gained.
Yeah, you see right there, he definitely went a little bit more protective there, made sure he got to the inside, protected that inside line, just like you talked about there, Maxwell. So he's going to hold on to that 3rd spot now out of turn number 4. And say, there was a couple questions here, or earlier there, Kevin Hash was wondering about the fuel window. I believe it's right in the 50 lap range, so they are still outside that window. Oh, you see Kevin send it deep there into turn number 1, had to roll out the back to avoid hitting the back of that 13 car. But I think these drivers are definitely trying to get everything they can out of these fresh tires here.
Absolutely. They knew how hard it was. They saw it firsthand once these race got under green. If you don't get it right there on the restart, and really we see that with Larry on the restart, how aggressive he was into turn 1. Note that he did that because he knew how critical it was to stay with the 17 because of how hard it is to pass. So Ryan, luckily for him, we know that he can make passes on this long run. But what we've got to look for is we've got to look for these other guys trying to get as many spots as we can, as we see the 82 and the 25 are having a fierce battle back there for 5th.
Yeah, they're having a really good battle. So they've been going after here for a handful of laps. Say last time it was Andrew Pleshy got real loose off the 4, able to gather it back up, but able to sticking with it here and going back after it. But you can see that little bit of a battle, though, that brings these other cars right back into the mix here. So you see that 94, we mentioned Dale Knott. He's starting to creep back into the fight here as well. He's been able to put on a couple of tenths over that 81 of Todd Merkel. Say Todd right now, I say, like you said, with a bit of a smaller field, but then also just it's been a competitive one as well. So Todd Merkel, actually one of the higher climbers so far this evening, with just getting the 2 spots from 10th into that top 8 right now. That's just how difficult, like you said, it's been here to try to make positions up here under green.
And I want to give Todd a lot of credit. He actually showed up to the happy hour room that was hosted right before this race started. A final chance for drivers to kind of get their bearings about the track conditions and all that. And he came in kind of struggling, and he ran with me and Ryan and Dale in that practice room. And we kind of give him a little bit of pointers, and I think he actually took it to heart, picking up a couple positions here and actually running very strong. Look who he's running, who's ahead of him. Dale Knott, Andrew Pleshy, Kevin Freeze, Kevin Brown, Ron Kelly, Larry, and Chad. He's running in good company, so he's doing a fantastic job tonight, and hopefully he can keep it up to squeak out the top 10.
Yeah, so he's definitely having, like you said, I think he's able to improve based on some of the help you can give. That's what's great about this league too. Is I'll say nobody's here to try to keep secrets for themselves. Everybody's in here to try to help one another, help everybody improve, and maybe find that little bit, that couple tenths or so that you need at some of these races here. And I'm saying the other thing for Todd Merkel, I mean, we got to give him that big shout out too for sponsoring this Cup Series playoff in that number 81. So he's got the Merkel Racing engines that he was able to put the sponsorship on. So I say we'll put the bigger banner up here once we get the next opportunity. But I say got some custom engines, parts, and sales. You can find them at merkelracing.com. So I say really cool opportunity that he's able to put on for everybody.
Absolutely, and if you notice up front, I know there's battles across the track here, but look up front. That 67's not letting that 17 out of his sight. 13's just sitting there riding quietly, and the 93's already fell off quite a bit. But we see that 67 and 17. As of right now, unless Ryan Kelly can really work that tire magic he's got, I think it's going to be between these two right now. They've been the class of the field all night, and the 17 has been in complete command. But remember, no bonus points for leading a lap, no bonus points for the most laps, no bonus point for having a clean car. It all comes down to who finishes ahead of who. So it's really interesting to see with the 67 keeping pressure on that 17, how this battle is going to shake out. So we just need to kind of quietly keep an eye on these front two because they're not separating anytime soon.
Yeah, Larry's done a really good job keeping that pressure on the 17. And you're right. I mean, say it could be, like I said, any of those top four right now that win this race. I mean, they could be missing the whole front clip of their car. They'll still be the Season 7 champions. So it doesn't matter. Like I said, no bonus points, nothing like that. It's just a straight up fight here for that for this last race to get that Season 7 championship. So, and like you mentioned, though, I mean, right now Larry's putting a ton of pressure on Chad Wilkes for that lead. But like I said, I want to get a few more laps here. I want to start seeing the lap times that Ryan Kelly's maybe able to start putting down in relation to these guys. Because I feel like these guys are running pretty hard right here. And again, you see how they're shortcutting the dog leg there. And I feel like Ryan's kind of being a little bit more gentle with that. You can see the sparks flying as they fly off of the through that dog leg as well. I don't think it's going to affect these cars in iRacing or anything like that, unlike possibly the real world. But I do think that might be able to help those tires a little bit more as well if you're able to kind of try to keep those right sides a little bit happier.
Absolutely, and kind of like I noticed in practice, these right side tires are actually holding up very well. We could run, a 20-lap run and still have 93, 92% on the right sides and almost have equal wear, which is not in an offensive way or nothing, but in this league, kind of unheard of to have equal wear on the right side. So as tight as this setup is, we are getting equal wear on the right side. So I think what the 17 is doing is he's pushing hard. He's thinking as long as I keep track position and can stay up here long enough, 67 can't get around me. And I think the 67 is running hard just to keep pressure on that 17 to force him into a mistake, seeing if he'll shove up the hill one lap. Because that's all it's going to take is that 17 to get out of the groove one lap. But notice who's slowly sneaking up in the picture here. That 13 looks to me like he's getting a little bit closer, and right there on timing and scoring, we see he knocked a 10th off those front two. So watch his 13. Now he can catch them, but can he pass them? That's the question of the night, Gael, and that's what we're going to have to keep watching as this run goes on.
Yeah, exactly right. I was saying you can get there, that's one thing, but yes, they finding a way around him's the whole other story with that one. And the other part of this as well, I mean, like we said, we've definitely seen some green flag. Oh, I heard some pretty decent wall contact there. Wasn't sure what driver it may have been. Not sure if you saw it on your side, Maxwell.
See the 6 coming down pit road, so I'm assuming that's probably him.
Okay, so yeah, because I could hear it. I couldn't see it, but it sounded like a pretty solid contact from somebody there. But as I say, looking at the cars up front, everybody looks to be clean, so definitely caught my attention. But I think we're going to get away with it. But yeah, you're right, though. I mean, Ryan Kelly's starting to clip off those tenths of a second, hundreds at times as well. And the other one to mention, we talked about him a little earlier, the 25 Kevin Freeze. He's really ramped up the pressure on the 93 of Kevin Brown. And say you can see he's within a couple of tenths of him as well. And so, I mean, right now, I say actually that last time by Kevin Freeze actually quickest car in track that last time on that last lap.
Absolutely, and that 25 just showing week after week how impressive he really is. Trying to come up through this field, trying to make his presence known in this league, and really just having an outstanding season. So it's real good to see the 25 just running super strong like that. And look at him actually starting to reel in that 93. That's something we don't see a whole lot of, is anybody reel in that 93. So 93 having a little bit of an off night there with Kevin Brown, but he's still running top 4. And it, Gael, we've mentioned it before, and it just never ceases to amaze me. We've got 4 playoff drivers left in here, right? Look at the top 4. all night long. No one has moved into the top 4 other than playoff drivers all night. How was it in the first 2 playoff races for the series? Like top 7 would be, 7 playoff drivers. You might have had 1 outside the top 8, and it just amazes me how when the pressure is on, how these drivers just absolutely step up to the plate and just absolutely get it done. Because the 25 is not backing off, and the 82, they're out here to try to get a race win tonight. There's still money on the line for top 3 positions, but it's just outstanding to see these top 4 drivers just drive the race of their lives as they are tonight, trying to get that championship prize, which is just a pretty good chunk of change if you ask me, and just awesome bragging rights going into next season.
Yeah, we're going to jump around a little bit because we got another really good fight here going a little further back. Right at the top 10, actually, you got James Ledford. We talked about him earlier. Now he's got to deal with that one of Gabe Butler, Lewis Woodall's right there as well in the 0-0 here. And you see this time, James, I think, may have rolled out of that just a little bit because you see the one is able to clear him pretty easily using cutting that dog leg there. So now Lewis Woodall's going to try to follow through here. Again, this is right around 10th, 11th, 12th for these 3 positions here. We mentioned the 81 Todd Merkel. He did drop a spot to Robbie Richards. However, he's been able to kind of separate himself just a little bit from these guys up front here. The question I'm going to have, though, here is going to be, we talked about the fuel window. It's not, when they pitted, they cannot make it to the end. So what are the strategies here? I mean, because you obviously, you think about, okay, let's split this run in half. That might be the right way to call this race, but if you get a caution, you might get trapped a lap down. And lap times, we've run 25 laps so far since they last pitted. We've dropped about a second, or like 1 to 1.3 seconds on lap time. So the question then is, at what point do these lap times equalize where maybe that short pit doesn't actually become as beneficial as you might think?
Man, that's such a good question. With this pit strategy, the way it worked out with that caution, that really shook up some things in this race. To me, there's only 2 options you have. Drop-off does not seem to be that much from the fastest laps. Like you said, maybe a second and a half or so, where most tracks we're looking at, 2.5 and 3 seconds of drop-off sometimes. So, and I feel like the tires would equalize pretty quick. Probably 8 to 10 laps into the run, you'd already be pretty equalized with as tight as this setup is. So, the only thing I'm thinking, you've got 2 options. You either pit as soon as you're in your fuel window, which that should be anybody, really. So, it looks like guys aren't taking advantage of that portion. But your other option is to go and try to run as long as you possibly can. A, hoping for that caution, and B, just hoping to have the freshest tires you can for the shortest amount of time. And it looks to me, with us already being on lap 63 of this event, looks to me like that's what these guys are doing, is they're just going to try to get the least amount of laps on their tires as they can for that last run. So, but you will have a few guys short pit, but I don't think it's going to be enough to help them the entire run. Because having 3 or 4 lap O tires for a whole run against guys for like 30 laps, those guys are going to run you down past you and go ahead and start taking off probably.
Yeah, it's going to be very intriguing to see it. Oh, actually, as I say that, Ryan Kelly way too wide there in 3. You could hear it there. Caught the outside wall, so it caught my attention as well. So definitely some contact. We still stay green, so I'd say it was nothing bad enough to bring out a caution. But yeah, definitely going to probably hurt that right side. Probably add a little bit of push to that car as well. It's going to kind of make matters that little bit worse here. And actually, as I said, here comes some strategy. We weren't sure about who was going to pit when. But Larry Yingling, he's pitting here with 35 to go here, Maxwell. Same thing goes for the 93 of Kevin and Brown. I wonder if that was a planned strategy, or maybe Kevin saw Larry jump in here and said, all right, I'm gonna do this too, because I think right now Larry's feeling he's got to try something different here.
Exactly, and if I'm Chad Wilkes, I am pitting this lap, I'm coming in this lap.
Yep, and here he comes. And I think Ryan Kelly too.
Oh, Ryan
stays out.
He's going to trust in that long run speed to try to see what he can do. Now, for these playoff drivers, this is crucial. Do not speed. Do not drive through your box. You have got to make sure you do that. And watch that pit exit. That cone is extremely far out for blending back onto the track. Make sure you don't get on the track too early and get a bad drive-through penalty.
Yeah, so far so good. It looks like for Larry and Kevin, they're back on track here. So we jump over to Chad Wilkes. Ryan Kelly, he still stays out. You see Chad Wilkes, he's getting service done to his car. the first question is going to be, where do these two cycle out in relation to one another? So Larry wasn't too far out, so I'd say that 1 lap short pit could be enough for him to maybe jump a position here. As you see, here comes Chad Wilkes exiting the pits now. And I say, look for Larry Yingling. He is already around that 17 car, so I'll say the strategy for Larry definitely paid off there. He's able to grab that position as they run, obviously. But right now, say everybody's gonna be kind of on their toes right here, kind of on pins and needles, if you will, because the one car that has yet to pit of that lead pack, Ryan Kelly, he's still showing as our race leader. We've got about 3 cars yet to pit, including Dale Knott in the 94, Lewis Woodall in the 00. Say they're opting to go a little bit longer on their cars, maybe again try maybe get that caution to maybe change the pit strategy here.
I'm Ryan Kelly, and I'm these other guys, and these people have already short pitted. Let them stay short pitted. I would stay out as long as I can. Hope for a caution. If he can trap the other 3 playoff drivers a lap down, think of how huge that would be for Ryan Kelly in this championship. This is the race within the race right here. He has got to hope and pray somebody wrecks, has a bad pit, something. He has got to get some of these guys lapped. That way the caution comes out and he can pit without any worry right now, because there's only 5 cars out here. The worst Ryan Kelly could fall to is 5th in this group. And with Dale Knott, Lewis Woodall, Eric Laurie, and Andrew Pleshy, I think Ryan could easily pass those cars with the speed he's shown tonight. So if he can even get Larry, even though Larry's in the free pass position, if he got the lucky dog, he would still have to restart at the tail end of the field, even behind lap down cars. And with this short of a period left in the race, that would be huge for his chances. So, but look at the 67 running that 13 down. But remember, if Ryan pits and he has, 10, 12 lap fresher tires in the 67, he'll be able to run him down later and mount a big charge at the end of this race.
Yes, and that's the question, is at what point does Ryan kind of have to blink here? So you see Larry's going to grab that spot. He's going to put himself back on the tail end of the lead lap there. I mean, Larry's been running some pretty brutal laps here in the 26.6s, 26.7s. So pretty much qualifying pace out of that 67 car. You see Chad Wilkes, he's trying to creep back in here as well. But really, I mean, I say obviously we have to wait till it all cycles through. But I mean, the big story could be that 1 lap difference on the pit stop may have been that's been able to propel Larry from that 2nd spot to the lead with a pretty good margin as well over Chad Wilkes.
I really think that's what happens. I think the 17, he had to pit. He did everything he could. Larry just kind of picked his brain there. But now we see the 13 coming down, and I don't know that I agree with this. I think he's done shot himself in the foot. If he was going to do it, he needed to stay out and milk out fresh tires when he got them as much as he could. But I think he's just trying to lick any wounds here he may have. So for me right now, I'm calling the 13 out and the 93 out of this championship as of right now. I think it comes down to the 17 and 67, but with the 67 in the lead, I don't know that the 17 can run that back down with the amount of laps left in this race.
Yeah, I say Ryan going for kind of the alternate strategy. Like I said, there's times where you feel like you want to run it as far as you possibly can, but say Ryan Kelly, he opts to pit here, so you can see the leaders already have gone by him for position. Looks like he's going to cycle out in about the 5th position once everything's all said and done. As I said, here now comes the caution out as soon as he makes his pit stop. And I can't see where it is, but I think it may have been the 071 of Eric Laurie. We'll take a look here. But this actually could be a really good break, though, because he's going to cycle now. He's going to have the track position, and he's going to have fresh tires as well.
And he got extremely lucky with that. But if he could have stayed out, what could he have done then? Because Larry would have still had to have pitted anyway and would have still been in some traffic. But now we see with Ryan pitting, that actually puts Larry and Chad and Kevin in a real bad bind here, because they're going to need to pit to get some fresh tires if they even want to survive against this 13. So now the strategy gets real interesting. We'll see who stays out, who maybe takes 2. Let's see what these guys do. If I'm the 13, this is easy. I stay out. And look, here they all come. If I'm the 13, I stay out. I don't know why the 13 just pitted there.
That is... Oh, you know why? He took 2 tires there, Maxwell. He had a 9.3 second pit stop, so this actually could still work out for him, because I'm guessing he probably took rights only. So what he's going to probably do here is he's going to put those left sides on. That could still be a short enough pit stop where he might be able to jump into the lead. But actually, we had one of our playoff drivers. He stays out. That's that 93 of Kevin Brown. So this is going to be a very bunched up pit stop here. We'll see. I'll say now we got to see about who's able to cycle out where. Because I said that 2 tires on the left, I presume. Yep, there goes Ryan Kelly, and he is going to jump both of them. So it's still going to wind up as a net positive for that 13 car.
Absolutely, but I don't know if I don't even know what right side tires we're going to do for him on that green flag pit stop. And that's why I said the strategy had to have been stay out until you absolutely had to pit. Because what did he have to lose at that point? You know what I'm saying? He had nothing to lose staying out. So kind of questioning why he pitted when he did. He got the lucky break with the caution, and then he had to come back down pit road to take those tires. But we see the 82 and we see the 93 stay out. And I know with the 82, he told me tonight he has nothing to lose. That makes him a very dangerous man with track position. And I can speak from experience. I've played the whole pit strategy game here at Phoenix, and it's gotten me the win 2 times. So I completely agree with some of these guys staying out. But I do question, with as tight as this setup is, how these guys are going to be able to hold on with this many laps left. We still have 23 to go here, Gael. That's a long time to stay out on no tires.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, and that's what I was thinking as well. If it's like maybe like 15-10 to go, I could see it, but I feel like I say we're going to restart here, just over 20 left. That's a long way to go to try to keep these fresh tires off. I mean, they're going to be about 10 lap fresher than Kevin in that 93 car. I say actually Andrew, he's got 3 lap fresher tires than the 93 car as well. So I say Kevin's definitely not out of the woods here yet. And the other thing I say, Chad Wilkes, I say just kind of day going a little bit more sour for him. You see, he was actually able to, he falls behind the 00 Lewis Whittle, because Lewis was actually the race leader at that point, because he had stayed out like you had been talking about, Maxwell. He had kept out, he had been trying to run the field numbers as far as he could, and he was able to trap a few drivers a lap or so down, or maybe at least on the tail end of the lead lap there. So he pitted as the leader. He's going to cycle out now in that 5th spot. I'll say Larry Yingling was able to jump him, but Chad Wilkes was not. So that's going to be one more spot that Chad's going to have to try to work around.
And that's another thing. If Ryan would have continued to stay out, he would have only had 6 cars on the lead lap. And a lot of guys would have either took the wave around or the lucky dog to get their laps back. It would have been on old tires anyway, and that could have guaranteed some of these guys a top 6 finish. But now with Ryan pitting, that opened up where everybody's on the lead lap, everybody's here. And now it's going to be a dogfight for the next, 21 laps we're going to have remaining when we go back green here. This is going to be real interesting. The picks have been changing up all race long. I think the 13's in the catbird seat, but he's going to have to make sure the 67 stays behind him as we get ready for the restart.
Yeah, say the 93 has control. Gets a good start. You can see he's going to jump to the top, get the momentum down. So now the first task for Ryan here, he's going to have to try to see if he can find a way to get around the 82, get that clean air. And it looks like he's going to be able to get the job done there, so that's the first thing accomplished. You see Larry trying to waste no time as well, almost up to the door of that 82 through 1 and 2. And Chad Wilkes having to waste no time as well. Try to hustle that car through. Right away, you see these guys able to get right back to those top 4 positions.
And you see just how aggressive Yingling is. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. He knows that 13 has long run speed. He's doing everything he can to pin him to the outside, and it's going to work. He's going to get around the 13, but is the 13 going to get a crossover move on him down the backstretch?
Oh, he's drifting off of 2.
Here we go. It's going to be a 3-wide battle with playoff guys, and they're all back in the top 4, and Kevin Brown is just loving this action.
Oh, a little bit of contact between 13, 67, and 3 there. It's going to cost Larry a little bit. It's going to open the door for Chad Wilkes. He can try to make something happen. I'll say, but Ryan's going to keep the momentum on that top side. But again, these guys, contact between the 17.
No!
Ryan is going to hold on to it for the, they make contact again off of the wall. I say they've gotten straight, but that doesn't bring out the caution of Maxwell. That's about the worst case scenario for those two right there.
Wow, we're at the end of this race, Gaia. We're going to have to go back and watch this replay because this was absolutely game-changing for this race. And Kevin Brown's just loving this, except for seeing that 67 of Yingling in his rearview mirror.
Yeah, I say he's still got one shark still kind of searching him out. Say we'll actually jump out. We're gonna go take a look at that now. So like I said, we were able to stay under green. So I'll say we'll go back here and take one more time a look at that.
Just what a game-changing move that was, and really that all started, I think, with Chad Wilkes just getting in the corner a little hot. And watching the replay, I'll know more, but we'll just see it. Yeah, Chad just gets in here hot. They get 3 wide going in, and we're just going to see Chad just drive right into the 13 there. Ryan comes to arc the corner, and they're just 3 wide.
Yeah, it's a really tough position for the 3 of them to be in. So obviously everybody's going for everything they can. They all know that they're on the better tires, so they want to get there as quick as they can. I'll say, but the biggest issue there was the fact that So unfortunately, they both had just such good car control that neither of them wound up looping the car around. So it actually wound up staying green. So they're still both on the lead lap, but they're way off pace here. Say a lot of damage and say a lot of track position lost. But now Kevin, say with those older tires, he's gonna have to do everything he can. Say I switched to try to look at the back. 67 Larry Yingling, he's working the top side here. You're gonna try to get this lead off of 4.
And this ain't over yet. There could be contact between these two. We've seen history with that 93 and the 67, but the 67 is going to clear. He's just got the fresher tires.
Yeah, that's just 10 laps right there. I say there's not much you can do. But look who's picking it up in third there, and then he's keeping right up with these guys. We talked about him earlier, the 25 Kevin Fries. He is keeping up with these guys. So, I mean, he might be in a good fight here to try to get that second spot as well.
And then you've got fourth place as well. Andrew Pleshy, I said the 25 and the 82 really don't separate much, and here they are. And then we've got a surprise here, a former playoff driver in this series. We've got Robbie Richards here running in 5th. And then our buddy Dale Knott still hanging in there, picking up 1 spot from where he started, running in 6th, just having a nice, smooth, steady race.
Yeah, so he's been closing on these guys, looking at the lap times. He's been pretty much the second fastest car on track these last couple laps behind the 67 of Larry Yingling. So I think Dale's starting to get back into that rhythm, that comfort that he's been familiar with. And so he's really starting to make some lap times happen there as well, closing that gap on Robbie Richards and Andrew Pleshy. So I'd say don't count out Dale. I mean, he could wind up in a potential top 3 position here as well, depending on how the rest of this. We got 14 to go here. A lot could change in these remaining 14 laps. As now you see the 25, Kevin Fries, he's starting to put that pressure on the 93.
Absolutely. We see that he's going to go ahead and take that spot. I'm pretty sure I heard in driver chat of the 93 just telling him to go on by. So he kind of knows that he's defeated here at this point in the race. One caution could change everything, but as of right now, he just doesn't have the car. But then we just see that 3-car battle back here for 4th. 82 is still holding on them old tires. And like I said, these guys, 93 and the 82 started 1-2, and they're only 3rd and 4th right now with just a handful of laps left to go. Wasn't really a bad call on their part. 93 just trying to do everything he could for that championship. But look at the 82, the 12, and the 94 here, all battling for positions coming into the closing laps of this race.
Yeah, exactly right. And so, yeah, Kevin Hash in the chat, he had mentioned under that yellow, he had a feeling it was all going to kind of kick off in turn 1 or turn 4, and he was exactly right. We had a kick off in turn number 1 there. So I'd say everything kind of turned on its head here, and that's kind of the tricky part about these winner-take-all races. It adds a lot of intensity. Some of these drivers have to kind of be a little bit, maybe ramp up the aggression more than they typically would. Let's say, because you feel like, okay, we got 4 playoff races. I'm gonna kind of be smart in the 3 and then see where things fall in the 4th one. Whereas this one, it's like, well, it's all or nothing here. And so yeah, it definitely changes things up a lot. So I haven't mentioned this. I do apologize, but I say one of our viewers as well, say his Dale's brother, say he's also watching. But I say he's got his daughter. Say so Dale's niece Emma. Say she's rooting on Uncle Dale as well, so say it's pretty cool that she's able to watch her uncle do this as well. And like I said, put in a really good show here as we just cross the line here for 10 to go. Oh, actually, as I said, Dale gets real loose. Robbie Richards, this could be the yellow Maxwell, and 12 is around, and the yellow is out.
This
big hit by the 1.
Everything. Wow, what a wreck. Oh, yeah, I just saw that guy on the broadcast there. Kind of having it off to the side here. A little delayed, but just saw that hit with the 1. But this changes everything. 9 laps to go. Who pits? Who stays out? Who takes 2?
Oh, yeah, the 12, Robbie Richards doesn't? There. He caught the wall off of 4. Dale had to try to react. I think Dale, a little bit of left side contact with the wall for Dale in the 94 car. And Robbie tries to hang on to it, but unfortunately, just let's say you kind of get that bounce where you have to try to chase it back and forth. And then, unfortunately, say then the one of Gabe Butler, say not sure if he just guessed wrong or maybe the smoke, say sometimes it's kind of impossible to see, and just a big hit off of that 12 car. So yes, I mean, at this point now, the question, you kind of, what do you do if you're Larry Yingling here? So you kind of have the pressure on your side where you think everybody's going to do the opposite of you at this point. But I feel like honestly, though, some of these drivers, their hands are going to be forced like the 93. I think he has to pit here.
I think the 67 stays out, and I think guys come and stay out. Yeah, I agree with the Yingling here because, look, there's 3 guys already staying out.
I don't know.
But
I think
it may not be enough.
I think Larry may have actually. I think this is the wrong call. I think if you're Larry, I think you take at least 2 tires there, just to try to do something, because you knew Kevin was going to have to pit. He had 10-lap older tires. He had nothing for him. I'm a little nervous for Larry here on this one.
I've raced with Larry for well over 10 years. I have a funny feeling that he's been saving a little bit even on that run. And I know we didn't have a ton of laps for this run. And normally after the 20 lap mark is when you really start falling off. So with just maybe 5 laps to go on the restart, possibly 4, I think there's enough cars that stayed out that these guys are going to have to get around. And you've got to remember, these guys on fresh tires, they're all going to race amongst themselves. But guess who this brings back in the picture, possibly? The 17 and the 13. Maybe they can try to do something to pick up some position.
Yes, and the critical thing is going to be who got out of pit road first there, because they're going to restart on the second row here. And it looks like Kevin may have just been able to get around the 17 of Chad Wilkes. As I said, I was going to mention, actually, Chad Wilkes, he took 2 tires there. I'm a little surprised by that as well with the contact. You would have assumed he would have taken 4 there, but Chad's opting for that track position in that 17 car. So he's going to restart in that 5th position. So, I mean, it's a really good starting spot for him. Maxwell, Ryan Kelly, sorry. He's going to be all the way back in the 10th position, but there's no saying this. Actually, Ryan could be in the best position here, because it is going to kick off and aggressively here, because this is a late race restart. We've seen it at Phoenix before. So kind of the gloves come off and everybody goes full send here on these last couple of laps, and it's not going to it's possible it may not end at lap number 100. We might go to 105, 110 and say we do have the 3 attempts of a green white checkered finish, so hence the channel name. So yeah, this is going to get very interesting here. So I think right now Larry's best friend is going to be that 25 of Kevin Freeze, though.
Absolutely, and I mean, Larry's going to have to hope for the restart of his life and hope that the 93 doesn't get a great run on that outside. If he can get clear of the 00 and 25, Larry's in big trouble. But don't count that 17 out either. Even though he's on 2 tires, I think he did exactly what he needed to do. I think Ryan Kelly's in big trouble back there in 10th, trying to get around a bunch of guys at the track that's been pretty hard to pass all night with just a handful of laps. I think Chad's just trying to give himself an opportunity to win a championship. And that's what he's going for. Larry's already had one. The 93 is looking for it. 17's looking for it. But look at the different strategies. You've got no tires, 2 tires, 4 tires right there in the top 5 of those 3 playoff drivers. This is going to come down to the wire. And who's to say those 3 don't all wreck and Ryan Kelly comes out on top? We saw 2 playoff drivers fall to the back. So,
and that's exactly what I was thinking. You've got the leaders or the playoff drivers here, 1st, 4th, and 5th. There's no saying that someone can make a mistake and they all could get wadded up in this one and say, like I said, put Ryan Kelly somehow in the catbird seat after all this is all said and done. So it's going to get very interesting here. Like you said, though, for Larry, he's going to have to get a great restart here. And I say he's going to hope that those cars that stayed out with them are going to give him a little bit of that buffer over that 93 and the 17.
Absolutely. So pace car is in. These guys coming for the restart of their life. Larry Yingling gets a great start as some other guys spin the tires. 93 stuck behind some traffic along with the 17. This is exactly what Yingling needed, but if these guys get around, they'll be there quick.
Yeah, so you see wasting number 4 wide here off of 2, the 17 to the inside, the 93 in the middle. Now the 93 is going to cut down to the inside, so that 5th position for Chad Wilkes, actually the perfect starting spot for him. He's going to be able to cycle through now in 2nd with those 2 tires. Oh, we got contact in the back. I heard the 81. Oh, cars around, yep. So it is so far actually somehow still green. I don't know how, but we stay green. So we keep going here as Larry Yingling's going to try to hold off for Chad Wilkes now for 4 more laps here at Phoenix.
And that was the caution Ryan Kelly was going to need and didn't get, but he is slicing his way through the field. If he can get another restart, he can be right up there with him. But here's that 17. You said the 2-tire strategy wasn't going to be good. Look at the run he's getting down into the corners.
Yeah, he is definitely driving with a purpose right now, and he has gotten to the 67 Larry Yingling. So like I said, I was nervous about Larry's strategy, and that's why I mentioned the 2-tire scenario. I thought that could work. Oh, contact between the 2 off of 2 there. I say Larry's going to have to try to hug that inside for all he's worth. What this is going to do is this is going to box in that 17 and the 93 now. If he can get those 2 fighting for 2nd position, maybe that'll let him get a little bit of breathing room as we're about to cross for 2 to go.
Don't be shocked if the 17 doesn't move the 67. There is a big pot of money on the line here tonight. And here he goes. He's going to start looking to the inside. All 3 of them looking on each other. Who's going to win this? We have no idea with 2 to go.
Oh, look at that run by Chad Wilkes. Just powered through the outside there off of turn number 2. So say now you see Kevin. He's been able to sneak to the inside. Kevin's got to get aggressive here through 3 to make sure he can clear Larry here. Because next time by this will be the white flag if they can get there. Ryan Kelly, he has gotten up to this group as well here. As Chad Wilkes, he is going to cross the line here. He's going to get that white flag. So it's the last lap here for the Season 7 finale at Phoenix.
And here goes Ryan diving it deep in the corner. What a recovery. He restarted, what, 10? And here he goes. Oh, in contact with Yingling. Going to put him in the wall and slow Yingling down, giving Andrew P3. But Chad Wilkes, what drive, what determination. He was not going to be defeated tonight. He knew what car he had. And coming out of 4, here he comes to take the checkered and the championship guy out. Here he comes.
Chad Wilkes winning the Season 7 championship, Maxwell. If you had told me that the 2-tire strategy after what happened to him earlier there with the contact with him in the 13, I would have never guessed it. But just, man, what a drive. Like you said, just didn't give up there. Use the tire strategy to get him that track position, and then from there just put those 2 tires to use. And just awesome job by Chad to pull off that win and get that championship here.
And what did I tell you it was going to come down to tonight? Phoenix has been known 3 races in a row now in this league to come down to a different pit strategy.
So he'll pull it up on. You'll see that 17. I talked to him before. He said, "Yeah, I'm going to be bringing the Torino Talladega back here, and he's going to put it to good use here, getting the win tonight at Phoenix." But oh my goodness, we figured you're going to have to win to get that championship tonight, but I would have never guessed in those circumstances.
And I don't want to toot my horn, but who did I call to win this? Who did I say I practiced with that I just knew I had a feeling about this? 17 to Chad Wilkes. He's had such heartbreak in the other series here in Area 51 of just losing out championships and races. Now he finally comes to the Cup Series and says, I've got determination, I've got drive, and I've got the car. I'm going to do it. And on 2 tires, beats the series best driver they've had in Larry Yingling to get not only the win tonight, but to get that elusive Season 7 championship. So great job to Chad Wilkes and that 17 team. That was an awesome run for him.
Yeah, so he's going to burn this thing down until either the tires are gone or the engine is gone. I'm not sure which is going to be first, but yeah, that's wild to say. You couldn't have asked for anything crazier there. And I was saying it actually looks like the motor is going to be the one to go first in that 17 car. But so let's say we got to talk to some drivers here. We'll say we're going to be able to start off with that 82, like you mentioned. So he's able to creep in there at the end there, Andrew Pileshi. So let's go ahead and find him here. All right, so we were able to find Andrew Pleshy here. Andrew started in the 8th position there, Maxwell, but it's going to bring it home in 3rd. I think all the strategies there, Andrew, you had a spot on, and just, almost a tale of 2 races there. Say long green flag runs to start things off, and then at the end there, it was kind of the who needs to make the right pit decisions there. We saw you stayed out on the second to last yellow, that final one. You went ahead, pitted, took 4 tires, and definitely the right call there, put you in a really great position on those last laps. Just how wild were those final couple of laps for you?
That last restart was nuts. Them guys were driving their hearts out. You got a couple guys on no tires. You had someone 4, someone 2. I kind of feel bad almost being in the middle of it, but it was pretty crazy. I'm really happy to get P3 out of that, and yeah, it was, like you said, a total tale of 2 races. First run, I was just like, yep, this is going green all the way. I'm going to finish here. No big deal. It sucks, but whatever. And then we get them cautions, and I was just trying to, on that second to last one, I thought, well, I'll just pit 2 laps ago, so track position, and I guess it kind of worked. So, yeah. I can't even, think. It was so crazy.
Yeah, it was a tough position. We saw you. I think it was you and Kevin that stayed out on that second and last restart, and it showed that the tires were going to play a role in that one. We saw the new tires able to get to you guys, and then so on that final caution, did you have any guess or any second guessing, or you were saying nope, tires were worth enough. I'm going to be pitting, getting those tires, and kind of going for the end. What were you able to kind of notice the differences over the course of that race, especially on that last couple of runs?
Last caution, I kind of figured, because I don't know how many laps we were in. You guys may know. I don't know. We had enough on it where I thought that there may be a handful of guys up front trying to pit, and I figured I think at that point I was 4th or 5th, so I didn't really think I was going to lose much by doing it. And I actually missed my pit box and had to back up, so that kind of screwed me a little bit. But yeah, after because we ran just a few laps, and after that I figured, yeah, might as well pit. And the strategies were nuts. Like I said, you had some of them guys up front on 2, and it worked out for them. You had some on none. And it was just great. I don't even know what Ryan took, but he just came out of nowhere in them last couple laps like a bat out of hell and just blew my doors off. I look up on nobody's there, and then I look back in the mirror next turn, and he's flying. So it was nuts. Definitely was not a. I definitely wasn't a third place car, so I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, it was a very wild one. I mean, that's the thing is, you guys were all right in that mix. I say, we saw the front four. We're kind of doing what we've seen them do most of the season. Then I said you were right there in that mix. You and Kevin Freeze. I mean, you two were kind of, it felt like, pinned together for most of that race as well. But I mean, just that was just outstanding. It's like, I think the strategies I think you nailed them just about as best as you could there. But so I know you've got a good buddy over here that's going to be doing some interviews as well, especially starting off next season. So definitely want to give him some chance to quiz you as well.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up, buddy? So it's kind of awesome guy. I'm not going to lie, getting the interview of a guy I've raced with for almost, 11 years now going
Something
on it?
Like that.
Pretty close. So, man, you go from telling me that you didn't even know an hour before the race if you were even running or not, to running solid top 5 all night long, to come back and finish third in what I call just absolute playoff chaos in this race. I mean, first off, one of my questions I have is, how did you know to stay out, and how did you know the car was going to have enough speed to hang in the top 4 and top 5, staying out on O tires like that with Kevin Brown? And then 2, how in the world did you avoid all the wrecks and all the 4 wide and everything going on to come back and finish third in this race?
To be honest with you, it was all pure luck. I didn't go into that thinking I could beat any of them guys. Honestly, the entire race, I was like, how can I get past Kevin Freeze? And he had me. I've complained about how much I don't like this track for 10 years. So this ain't my best place, and I didn't really practice this week. So I was just trying to get past him, and was just, I don't know, being behind some of them faster guys kind of benefited, I guess, when they got into each other. Still don't really know what happened. I can't wait to go back and watch it. But yeah, it was just all pure luck. Like I said, I shouldn't have finished here. I shouldn't be interviewing with y'all. I'm just here. It was fun though.
And I'd love to disagree with you there. I think you earned this third place finish. You were there all night long. You were there on the pit stops. You were just smooth, consistent, and steady with such a tight setup.
Did you see me putting in the wall on that second run?
Hey, you wasn't the only one. I promise you, there were a lot of guys putting in the wall, but you had an amazing run. You've earned this third place finish. Congratulations, Andrew. And I hope we're interviewing you next season in the end of the race or in the playoffs, however that goes next season, where we can be interviewing you race after race in here, finishing hopefully higher than third, second, even first place. Love to be able to do that, man. Great run, bud.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Thank you. I just want to shout out my teammates. Congrats to Chad. He did a really good job out driving that and put together a really good season. And so did Larry. He had it if it wasn't for the tires, honestly. But everybody else, Ryan, you for 11 out of 12. A lot of you guys, yeah, it was fun racing. Y'all did a good job. Congrats, everybody.
Yeah, so it was a great run, though, Andrew. I said, enjoy this one. So they got a couple weeks off to get a breather, kind of get the game plan for Season 8. So I know we're going to try to find some things in store to try to help the whole thing out. So it's going to be a lot of fun for that as well. So I definitely appreciate all your guys' involvement with the league, improving everything between the setups and the cars, and we'll say whatever we need to do. So this is going to be a lot of fun to see how we kind of set this up for Season 8. So but yeah, I mean, great job to finish Season 7 off with that podium. Great run for tonight. And like Maxwell said, I definitely look forward to getting some more interviews with you in a few more weeks, starting with Season 8.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys for streaming it. Y'all do a great job. I'm glad, like I say every time, I'm always glad to be here. So take it easy, y'all. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too, sir. All right, so we got to grab now our second place finisher. It's going to be that number 93 of Kevin Brown. This is going to be, I think, one of those what could have been races, unfortunately, for Kevin. So he started towards the front there in that fourth position. We mentioned all of the 4 playoff guys in that top 4 in qualifying. I mean, they all stayed together most of that race. And we saw a little bit of a little tail slap, I guess you could say, on that first run. Say maybe dented that right front fender just that little bit. I doubt enough to really hurt the car there. But then it's kind of those last two pit stops. Obviously you got the lead on the one where you stayed out. We saw the tires make a difference. So kind of Maxwell and I kind of figured like, okay, he's going to for sure pit on this final stop when that caution came out. When you saw Larry stay out, did you feel like that may have been the winning call for you tonight?
I don't know. It was definitely a fun race seeing Larry stay out at the end there. First off, hats off to Chad and all of them. Good job. That was a hell of a drive by Chad. He definitely deserved that one. Um, but yeah, it was just it was a tough race.
Yeah, so I was saying, Max are mentioning it's like it was gonna be I actually kind of got proven wrong. I was like, okay, it's gonna be a fight to who can get that second row. And I say with you taking the 4 and Chad taking 2, it was really tight between you guys on the pit exit. Obviously, you kind of the further up you can be on the rows, you feel like the better off you're gonna be. But say just obviously the restart didn't go in your favor there. But I mean, just how wild was that last restart for you guys? I mean, I think at one point you guys were 4 wide there trying to get out of 2, and again, just everybody trying to get every position they could there to try to chase Larry down there. And just how stressful, I mean, how, I guess, kind of nerve-wracking and kind of white-knuckling were you having to do on that last part?
Oh yeah, I was definitely white knuckling a lot. My hands hurt from grabbing the steering wheel so hard. I knew we were 3 wide. I didn't think we were 4, but after looking at the replay and seeing Chad making it 4, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm surprised we didn't crash there. But it was crazy. I was kind of hoping Larry and Chad was going to wreck each other because I definitely was not the fastest all night. Um, but fortunately we got second, and like I said, hats off to Chad for winning.
Yeah, it was definitely a challenging one tonight. Saying like I said, almost tailed 2 races as well. But all right, so you got a couple weeks off. We'll be then hopefully kick off season 8 with a full head of steam. So obviously I know you and I kind of have our own little group chats that we get to chat with some buddies. So you're gonna have some familiar faces running with you again coming up in season 8. So what are your thoughts going forward on that one?
I'm definitely looking forward to having teammates. It's definitely lonesome when you're by yourself just racing. But I think we're gonna have 2, 3 different people come in for my team, which maybe would definitely help out. Having different people to race with and whatnot. But we definitely look forward to next season. Hopefully, start off strong like we did, and when is it Daytona? I'm not sure if it's Daytona again or not, but whatever it is, hopefully we start off strong like we did this season.
Yeah, so we're still finalizing, I think, the schedule. But you can talk to us. We can quiz Dale on that as well. So we'll be definitely kind of ironing out the final details here pretty shortly. But just awesome job though all season long there, Kevin. I say you definitely were put on a show there tonight on those last couple of restarts. So you and Chad and Larry. I mean that was a wild one at the end. You're not gonna. You don't get to hear Dale talking about your races anymore. So you're gonna have that new voice in the booth. So you're losing a competitor and gaining a broadcaster with Maxwell. So I figure Maxwell, I'll give you a chance here if you have anything you want to add on or pick the brain of that '93 car.
Really, first thing, Kevin, awesome season. I got to race you at times hard all season long, but it was all good and all fun. Great run tonight. Just didn't seem like you had the car maybe that Larry and Chad had. You maybe had about a third place car when it came to the playoff guys, at least on the short runs, but you found a way to position yourself there at the end to kind of have at least a strategy and a shot to get ahead. So I guess my question is, when Larry did pit or when Larry stayed out, did you just immediately know that you were going to do the exact opposite of him? Or did you kind of question your call once you pitted and saw a couple guys stay out with so few laps left in the race?
Yeah, I was thinking about staying out, but knowing that Larry still had fresh tires than us, I thought the better call was do whatever he did, or do opposite of whatever he did. Um, yeah, like you said, we were probably the slowest out of the 4 guys. It was a tough setup. I'm not too friendly with tight setups. I enjoy it being loose, like it was at New Hampshire, and that's what I figured it was going to be tonight. But it was a little bit too tight for me, and we just the car sucked all night. That's all I can say.
Absolutely. And I kind of practiced with some of the guys earlier this week, so I know exactly what you're talking about with that front end really not gripping well and almost having a snap loose on exit. So you had to be real easy with the car all night. But, man, great run, taking a car that maybe wasn't the best and bringing it home second. You really can't ask for much else, man. You had an awesome run tonight and had an absolutely awesome season. Not going to be shocked at all to see you right there in that playoff picture again next season, especially with teammates, like you said, bringing them in. That's probably going to even help propel you and challenge you even further. I know my teammates with Larry and Chad and Ryan, they've always helped push me harder. And so I know exactly that feeling of having some guys around you. So I'm really looking forward to see what you can do next year in that 93, man. Great run. Awesome job.
Appreciate it. And yeah, all our differences aside, it's been a pleasure running with you this season. I know we had our differences and everything, but all jokes aside, it's a pleasure racing with you, man.
Absolutely, it was fun. It's got nice to have somebody you can race hard and know you can race side by side with. It was a pleasure, but it's going to be even more fun watching you next season from here in the booth and getting to just watch all these strategies play out and watch you work with your teammates to try to see more success. So great job, Kevin.
Thanks, man.
Say before we let you go though, Kevin, I know you had a special spotter on the box, and so and I know you've had a lot going on the side of things too. So definitely want to give you chance any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for your run tonight.
Oh yeah, definitely. You guys for I forgot the paint scheme again, like an idiot. But Green White Checker, y'all guys are putting on the show as usual. Ronnie Reiser up in the spotter stand spotting me tonight. He paints my paint schemes too. He does a pretty good job on it. And yeah, you guys put on a show, Area 51, and can't wait for next season.
All right, well, great job, Kevin. Yeah, it was a lot of fun watching all season long. So you just got to get that one more spot for next season, and like Maxwell said, don't doubt you'll see you in that playoff hunt as well. But yeah, looking forward to it. So enjoy the couple weeks off that we've got. I know you got to get settled into the new place, so get all that squared away and then have some fun. We'll have some fun with you here in a few more weeks.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that is going to leave us with just one person left to talk to, and that is going to be our Season 7 champion, that number 17 of Chad Wilkes. Started from the pole, finishes in the top spot. Once I actually drag him where he's supposed to go, there he is. All right, so we'll bring in our race winner and Season 7 champion of Chad Wilkes. I mean, it looked good for you at the beginning of the race. You were able to get the pole, kind of get away from Larry there, and then just kind of hold him at bay there. And then just pit strategies kind of changed the name of the game there for you guys. And then obviously, I know unfortunately the contact with you and Ryan Kelly on that second to last restart. But then, I mean, the strategy that you had there, went ahead and took the 2 tires, got you all that track position to get back up to 5th. And then from there, I mean, you were just driving like a man possessed in that last restart. I mean, take us through your race up until that point, because I mean, that was a little bit of everything for you, it looked like tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was in a great spot. Like I was just cruising and everything was going good. Even that first caution, like that was going to work out. The strategy is going to keep everybody to one stop. And the second pit stop, I was going to pit at 70 regardless. But then I saw Larry and Kevin come in, so I just covered them immediately. And I mean, I was gaining on Larry by a 10th a lap, and I felt like on the long run I was probably faster than him anyway, I guess, because I was kind of able to sort of pull away when I wanted to at the end there right before he pitted, because I was just saving, because it's like impossible to pass here. So I knew there was nothing he could do, so I was saving. Then when I knew it got close to the pit window, I started going, and I kind of pulled away from him right before he pitted. And so I felt like I was okay. Like I was happy with where I was. And then that caution came out, and I was just, man, I was very, very, very not happy at all. Like I thought that was the end of the race. And then the contact with me and Ryan in the car, I didn't think it was my fault. So, like, I was just mad that I was in that situation because Larry was underneath me. I was, like, watching the mirror, and I was braking. He and I broke at the same point. Like, I was going to go deeper than he did into the corner, and there was a little bit of space there at the time. And then Ryan turned down and hit the brakes way earlier than we did. And so at that point, I was just, in my mind, I was like, man, Ryan just broke really early and turned down really early. Then I go back and watch the replay, and he actually broke at that exact same spot the lap before. We were on new tires, so me and Larry were just kind of going there. But it turned out being my fault because I'm the car behind us. My responsibility not to hit the car in front of him. So, but that just made me even more mad. And then somehow it turned out when I came out on 2 tires and nobody was really, the only car that had tires in front of me was on the outside. I was like, well, I'm going to go for it. And I kind of felt like I deserved to win selfishly and egotistically, I guess. Like I dominated the race and kind of got qualified on pole, kind of did whatever I wanted to do. So I really, really wanted to win. And I really ended up just getting lucky after a lot of bad luck and my own stupid mistake. I ended up getting lucky again at the end. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it was, like you said, it was kind of I'm sure a huge swing of emotions. Like you said, kind of having control of the race. It's like actually, I say Maxwell and I thought you'd probably be kind of a little bit more concerned when you got out behind Larry after that pit stop cycle. it's like, because like you said, you were closing on, but it's one of those things. Like I said, so difficult to pass. It was going to be in a tough position there. But I mean, just that last restart though. I mean, it's like, in let's say it was a really close fight as well. Let's say I don't know if that's something you were watching between yourself and Kevin there. Let's say with you on the 2 tires and Kevin taking the 4, you guys came out right on each other basically. Was that something that you were watching? Were you going to try to just get the best exit you could out of the pits, or did you want to make sure you were going to be in that 5th position on that pit exit?
No, I didn't realize that 3 cars had stayed out. I thought one did for some reason. Like on my radio, I heard somebody say the 00 stayed out. So like I only thought one person stayed out. So I was trying to beat him, and he barely got me. And for whatever reason tonight, it just kind of seemed like Kevin wasn't quite where I was in speed. And with the 2 tires, it really helped the car turn, because I was tight all night. Like I actually felt way better on 2 tires. So when I put the 2 tires on and he was on the outside, I guess it's weird to say, I kind of wasn't worried about him. I kind of felt like I'd be able to get by everybody before he did. And then I didn't realize that the tires would make so much of a difference on Larry. But I mean, man, the first time I got behind him, I literally had to slam the brakes on the apex of the corner, because like I was going to run him over. Like I had no idea I was going to be that much faster than him and on the tires. So at that point, it was like trying to get around him without wrecking him and without Kevin getting by too. So it was really weird, but I just got off the corner so good off of 4 that Larry had to pick the inside. And when he did that, he just didn't have the tires to keep up, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, and that was the next part, is that pass you made on 2. I mean, obviously, like I said, you had the tires there, but I mean, it just looked like you were in another gear there through 1 and 2 with those right side tires. I mean, that thing just looked like it hooked and just went there. Because let's say we were like, okay, he's to the outside of Larry, and then it's like, no, he's gone. And so he got the momentum. You just kind of just really rotated through the corner so well there. And I think it's exactly like you said. It sounds like those 2 tires, that was a good call there. For track position, obviously, but then also, like you said, to free up that car on a tight setup that you had tonight. So it's like kind of like you said, kind of everything worked out really well in that final stop for positioning yourself in 5th, and then getting those 2 tires to help that car turn at the end. I mean, I'll say it was, like I said, I'm sure a huge swing of emotions throughout the race, but yeah, I mean, just that last restart and everything you guys were doing. I mean, 4 wide out of 2 on the initial restart. It was wild. I mean, you guys, yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. And like I was telling Max, I mean, it seemed like you're driving like a man possessed on that last restart.
Yeah, I mean, I told somebody in our Discord, I think like Andrew and Dale lined up right behind me, I think, or right there around there. And I was like, I'm on 2 tires, so this thing's going to be really loose, and I'm not going to lift. So if I spin out in front of y'all, I'm sorry. It's definitely not intentional, but I mean, that's the nature of this format. Like you don't have a choice. Like it's kind of, I mean, it just kind of is what it is. You don't have a choice. Like, and just with the nature of the cautions and everything, like, I don't know. It just kind of puts you in a position where you have to be uber aggressive. And like with the Ryan thing, I was way too aggressive without even realizing it. But it was like Larry was like really driving me down into a corner. So I felt like at that point we were all just going to dive in, and we didn't. But it just kind of the nature of where it is kind of puts you in those situations, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. At the end of the race, I was like, man, I'm awesome. I just killed that. And then I go back and watch the replay of Ryan. I'm like, oh, no, I was actually being way too aggressive at times. So I don't really know what I'd do different. Like Larry's on the inside. I was going to break when he broke. So I don't know. It's just kind of how it works out. I mean, I don't know. I ended up getting lucky to win, I guess, even though I felt like I was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say, yeah, it's definitely a tough balance. So I'd say when, like I said, it's all to play for. It's like and say winner take all situations. I'd say there's you pretty much, like I said, you got to go full aggressive, and it's gonna be really difficult to kind of ride it out or anything like that, especially when you're in those late restart situations for in a race like this as well. So, but I mean, just awesome job. Let's say you're able to work your way back up there after what you had to kind of contend with there. But so I'm going to hand it over to Maxwell, though, so have him see if he has any things he wants to quiz you on as well here before we kind of set you free.
First off, thank you for making me look smart as I tried to call you to win this race at the start. Man, I knew from practice you had been running strong. You had a fast car. And as a teammate to you, man, I just know the drive and passion you have for this. And, man, did it show tonight. I mean, you put on a show, led the most laps, dominated the race, had a couple hiccups there, like we talked about with the green flag pit stop where you kind of got behind Larry. I was worried about you there. And then the caution with Ryan, I thought you were done for. I mean, my heart broke for you, man. I was like, no, he's been having so much bad luck in some of these races and these championships in Area 51, and here it is again. But to watch you take 2 tires on that last restart and drive past one of the greatest racers to ever be in Area 51 with Larry Yingling, my big question is just, how'd you do it, man? That was just an absolute amazing restart, an amazing race. And to come back from all that adversity and win it, man, I'm just super pumped for you, man. So just take me through from the wreck to that last restart, kind of what was going through your mind and how you just pumped yourself up to have the restart of the season to get this win.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty pissed. I mean, that's really what it was. Like, I was really mad. Like, really, you kind of summed it up there. Like, I felt like I was like, man, like, this is the first year or first season I'd ever actually practiced. Like every other season I ran, I would come into the room with like 10 minutes left of practice and just try to run, and like with the money and stuff on the line. And I just felt like I finally had enough experience to not do a bunch of stupid stuff on pit road and all that. Like, I don't know. I put a good amount of effort into this season, more effort than I ever had before. And I just felt like I'd won a bunch of races. I don't know. I was on the pole a bunch of times, more than I ever had been. And I just kind of felt like it's just going to be another one of those seasons where something goes wrong at the wrong time, and I was going to be very unlucky. So, yeah, I mean, I was not happy at all, and I definitely 100% thought it was over. But I mean, even when I went to the pits, I was like, I mean, I got to take 2 tires. I don't have nothing to lose because you just have to be close enough to make something happen. And then when I came out and I was 5th, I was like, and everybody in front of me was on old tires. I was like, oh, well, I'm at least going to finish 2nd. Like, so that kind of got me to a point where I was like, okay, I mean, as long as like I don't get taken out, I'm going to finish 2nd. And I didn't know how slow Larry would be, but those old tires were really, really hurting him. Because I mean, we were pretty equal all night, especially on the short run. But on the longer run, I was able to pull away from him. Part of that's probably clean air and stuff too, but he was driving really, really hard into the corner. So he was probably sliding his fronts a little bit more than I was. But I knew on a short run he was just as fast as I was, so I didn't know if it'd make enough of a difference. But the tires really, really made a big difference. And once I got there, I mean, I was honestly scared I was going to wreck them. Like, the tires made such a big difference that I almost ran them over a bunch of times. So I knew I was going to get by him. It was just, how can I get by him without wrecking him at that point? And when I got by, yeah, I was pumped, man. I was pumped. I put a lot of effort into this season, and I think it showed with the results. I think that's 5 wins out of, I think maybe 5 wins this season, which seems to be a lot. And I think I could have won Atlanta had I been in the fight for that. And just the ups and downs of this season, like just some of the craziness that went on, that was partly my fault for sure. Like it's been a very up and down season. So to finish it off, I'm pretty pumped. I just hate the stuff happened with Ryan, but I guess that's the nature of the business. It's happened to me before too, I reckon. So, but yeah, I'm pumped that I won. I put a lot of effort into this, as you know.
Absolutely. Racing with you all season long, man. I mean, I've raced with you since, you came into the league. We almost probably came in around the same time. You was probably a little bit before me. But, I saw something in you tonight that I haven't seen in a long time, Chad, and that's the first season I raced here. I remember us being almost rivals in a couple of races, kind of like I've had with other drivers this season. I'm a hothead. So, I mean, there's guys that I just race really hard and it shows. And, my first season, you were one of those guys I raced really, really hard. We all talk about that race at Indy where me and you wrecked and it was almost bad. But I saw something in you tonight that reminded me of that first season and just your aggressiveness and how hard you drove and your determination to want to get it. Yet I also saw how you've matured as a driver to not put yourself in too many bad situations. The thing with Ryan was just a racing deal tonight. 2 guys going for the same spot, and the way the braking was in the car, I understand how it probably just locked up a little bit and you made contact. But just that drive at the end, that aggressiveness, man, I haven't seen that in you since that first season. And even thinking of races at like North Wilkesboro and just different tracks, it just flooded my mind. So you did an absolutely awesome job, Chad. You've came through a lot of adversity this season, and you have truly, in my opinion, you earned this championship outright. Whether it was a last race win to get it or whether it was the old point system, I think either way, you had this championship this season. So just from a teammate, congratulations, man. I'm super pumped for you. You earned it. You celebrate this, man. Great, great job, Chad.
I appreciate it, man. That means a lot coming from you. We come a long way, huh?
Absolutely. From having admins having to step in between us to being teammates, man, we have come a long way. But it was so cool to sit here and watch you pull that off tonight on 2 tires, nonetheless. And I called, I've been telling you all week, the pit strategies were going to play a factor in this race. It absolutely did for the 3rd race in a row. So great job, man.
Yeah, 100%. Appreciate it.
Yeah, before we let you go and celebrate though all the way though, Chad, I know you've had your crew chief here and there, so I know he likes to watch as well. So definitely want to give you the floor though. Any thanks and shots you'd like to give for that win tonight?
Yeah, everybody that ran with us this year, kind of come and going a little bit. Obviously, the season goes on, but all the way. I know Brandon wasn't here tonight, but done a ton of practicing with him this year, and obviously Larry, Ryan, Maxwell, even though he didn't drive tonight. Andrew, even Dale was in the Discord channel tonight. So, yeah, just everybody that I've run with this year and practice with. And, yeah, it's really cool. It seems to be that a lot of us tend to win these things, which is pretty cool. I know that if Kevin races next year, he's certainly going to, again, be a lot to deal with and definitely will be the favorite or one of the favorites, if not the favorite to win. But yeah, so just thanks to all the teammates and everybody that practices with us, and Maxwell and Ryan, especially last night, jumping in and giving me a little bit of a measuring stick to kind of see where I was. And then the admins and everybody for the league, I know they have a tough job. I haven't always been super happy, but all in all, I know how tough it is. So I appreciate them for putting on the league. I know it's a lot of work. And to y'all for doing the broadcast all year. Obviously, it's great having these. And I know that y'all put a ton of effort into it, which is also really important to a league. It's a huge, huge part of the league and any league to make it successful, and y'all do a great job with that. And then also, like you said, my dad is always in and out. He hasn't been able to kind of watch me as much this year or, be in my Discord channel or crew chief or anything in any of the series really this year because he got a new job and works nights now a good bit. So he hasn't been around as much, but I know he probably doesn't know that I've won yet. He'll probably watch the replay without wanting it spoiled tomorrow morning. But, yeah, so I know that he'll be watching this. So obviously appreciate him for buying me my first computer when I was in college to start doing this stuff. So, yeah, appreciate everybody. It's been a fun season and pretty pumped up.
All right, well, now we'll let you free. So yeah, enjoy this one, Chad. Congrats on the season 7 championship. Well earned. I'll say in exciting fashion as well. So yeah, it's done. You've got it. And now go enjoy it, man.
Good. Appreciate it.
All right, Maxwell. So that is our season 7 champion. That's 17 of Chad Wilkes. We got to pull up our final results though. See how everybody else fared in tonight's event. All right, so you see Chad Wilkes winning tonight by about half a second over Kevin Brown. Andrew Plush, we mentioned, obviously talked to him as well in that 3rd position. I say Larry Yingling, nothing to hang his hat on there. I say just unfortunate that pit strategy, like they mentioned, and nobody thought that the tire wear was going to be that big of a difference there. I say unfortunate. I think that's one of the things that unfortunately kind of led to Larry's unfortunate finish of the 4th position. But again, just awesome job by him all season long. And then, like you said, Ryan Kelly, he was pretty much last car in the lead lap, took 4 tires, and just out of nowhere just showed up in that top 5. I say give him a few more laps, and he would have been right in that mix as well. And then obviously you got Dale Knott, his first race back after months of not racing. He's going to grab that 6th position. You got Kevin Fries in 7th, Michael Spell 8th, Gabe Butler 9th, and Todd Merkel rounds out our top 10. And then 11th through 15th, you've got Lewis Woodall, Robbie Richards, James Ledford, Eric Laurie, and Bud Steele. And somehow, Maxwell, that wraps up season 7. Like I said, it feels like it's been just a few weeks ago that we started this season up here. I say obviously with Dale in the booth with me, you on the track, but say somehow it's been 12 plus weeks and we've got a season 7 champion. We've got you in the booth with me, and we got Dale on track. So it's say it's been a big change, but say it's gonna be a lot of fun. I say I'm pretty much ready for season 7 or season 8, I should say. But at the same time, I'm looking forward to getting some changes and some improvements to add to the just kind of to add to the league and to the broadcast here.
I don't think words can describe how much this particular part of Area 51, this Cup Series, how much it has evolved and changed over this past season. We have seen some rivalries. We've seen me get into some skirmishes with a guy or two, including teammates at times. We've seen tensions really high. Seems like it's been, at least for me, more of a stressful season. Just a lot of competitive guys this season. I went from winning a championship to having trouble keeping up with top fives, kind of a big culture shock there. So, and it sounds like next season with Kevin bringing in some teammates, it's going to be even more of a challenge for people to finish. So, just this season had so many storylines, so many things going on. And then, midway through the season, me and you discussed about me even jumping up in the booth for next season, which is kind of different. Not going to lie, it kind of felt weird watching the 94 drive without me in it. But I know that Dale Knott gave it a great run, and I know he's going to do great next season. I'm still going to practice with these guys, and I'm still going to be around. It's just with the wedding and everything coming up, it's going to be nice to kind of take a season off, kind of sit back, evaluate, and maybe try to hone my skills a little bit just to keep up with these guys. But just what a great end. I don't think you could have predicted it to be any better than what happened tonight. At least it wasn't just a, no passing, no nothing, and just watching single file run all night long. We actually saw some passing tonight. We actually saw some pitch strategy. We saw everything all the way down to, I say, the restart of the year or the season. Well, you know what? Even with multiple seasons, restart of the year for Area 51, to watch Chad Wilkes take 2 tires starting in that second row and just drive his way through the field, man. That was incredible. And even Ryan Kelly coming up to finish 5th, like that was unheard of. We heard Andrew talk about that. And Andrew mixing it in with the playoff guys. We thought they'd finish 1, 2, 3, 4, yet he pops himself in 3rd. So he's proven he's a major contender for next season. So many things going on, so many improvements and changes that are kind of going on behind the scenes that we're hearing about with the admin team of things to look forward to in season 8. I can't wait to get started. But after the way this season's been, it will be nice to have about a week or two to kind of recoup and sit back and just have some fun for a little bit. But great season, I know, for me in the 94. We had a good run. Missed out on that top 4 by 3 points, but, got to start in the booth at night early. And after tonight, if next season's races are anything like tonight was, then me and you are going to have a ton of fun in this booth on Thursday nights. And I'm super excited, Gael. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I said you guys have a knack for putting on these great shows, and it just makes it that much more fun to do. So yeah, you're exactly right. I'm definitely looking forward to season 8. Like I said, it's always nice to have that little bit of a breather, kind of get everything kind of reorganized and kind of going full steam again for that one. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. And I really want to thank everybody. Also, say we had a lot of people on YouTube chatting with us, and I love it. I say if we can keep that growing and kind of continuing and growing for season 8, that'd be so much more fun, because it makes it so much more enjoyable to be able to actually interact with the fans and family of drivers and just people that are just here to support the channel too. It's a lot of fun to do. So like I said, we're gonna have some new in addition things that we're gonna be pulling off for season 8. It should be a lot of fun. So always a little bit of kinks to work out on those first couple of races, but I can't wait to move forward on that one as well. So yeah, and just hats off to all the drivers tonight and all season long. It's been a lot of fun watching them kind of battle it out. Like I said, it's a very competitive season. Definitely the competition is definitely ramping up, like you had mentioned. So season 8 is going to be that much more. And of course, I gotta shout out all the admins and everybody at Area 51 for kind of taking the chance on me to be their broadcaster a few years ago. It's kind of crazy. I think it's been that long already since I kind of kicked things off for one of my first seasons with Area 51. So I think we've grown a ton. I think we're going to grow even more. And last but not least, Todd Merkel. We're going to thank him for sponsoring this playoff here with the Merkel Racing engines. You see on the banner there, custom engines, parts, and sales. So you can find them at merkelracing.com. So I say got a little bit of competition on the possibly the Ford side of thing with his. I say see him racing the Fords more often than not. So I'm gonna put an assumption out there with his pro stock car. So anyway, my rambling's over. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun this season. It was a lot of fun tonight as well. And like I said, Maxwell, I'm looking forward to next season already. But like I said, I want to have some fun and try to make some adjustments, and let's see what we can do to make this season 8 even more fun than this one.
It's going to be absolutely awesome. I'm super pumped for it. And we already have an all-star cast of drivers in this field, but can't wait to do some recruiting races the next 2 weeks and see how many more drivers we can add to the field, getting more car counts and just getting more side-by-side action with hopefully some setup changes and some different things we're looking at. But, man, what a season. But I think it's only the beginning, Gaio. I think next season is going to top this one by a long shot. I can't wait to get started. It's going to be exciting. And who's going to come out on top this time? We see Larry Yingling, who dominates all the time, falls out of this championship. But, man, who can pull it off next season? It'll be interesting to see, and I can't wait to get started. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, but I can't agree with you more there. So for those of you watching again, thank you so much for supporting us and watching. It means a ton. And so hope you all enjoyed it tonight. I say happy Friday Eve. Got the work week just about done. So until next time, we'll be back again on Sunday for the Super Speedway Cup Series Season 7 finale. Over there, we'll be crowning that Season 7 champion. We got those Final 4 at Talladega. And like I said, after that, we'll have a couple weeks off, and then we'll go back full song again with Season 8. So thank you all again for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you next time. And until then, have a good night.